welcome to the episode of Hope, where we talk about life, how to live it, and the people that share their stories. And it's been amazing, the feedback that we're getting from you guys all over the globe, and some of you appreciating, some of you sharing your personal stories. I think I'm just going to get a day where we're just going to sit down and laugh about some of the stories, because some of you have given testimonies where you have come out the other side of the tunnel. And now looking back, the guest stories that we have, you say, I mean, I can relate with this. I have ever been like this. And some of you even divert from liking the stories and commenting on the stories, and you go to the comments and comment on the comments. And you'll find a comment having more than 6,000 comments. A comment having more than 6,000 comments. When some of you are becoming so hilarious about your stories. But that is the way of life, and that is the beauty of life. So we love you. We love the community that we have created together. The word on my heart today is, so many of us have been praying, and we have been praying for so many different things, the things that stress us. It could be business expansion. It could be about your calling. It could be about your ministry. It could be about your child upbringing. It could be about your marriage. And you've been praying for enlargement. You've been praying for God to do merciful things. You feel you're at your wit's end. Some of you feel like you've been giving up. But again, you give up and still go back to that same God. How amazing that is. And what I hear on my heart God say is that He has released the grace, and the grace is sufficient. There is hope that your life is going to sprout again, that you're just widen your tents, just prepare in a place of prayer, prepare in a place of knowledge, prepare in a place of mentorship, prepare in a place of God's word, prepare in a place of receiving and having the capacity to be able to contain what God is bringing, because it's going to be amazing and it's going to be overwhelming in a very good way. So today we have Arinda, the beautiful Arinda. We're going to be able to be sharing in her story what she has gone through. I know that so many of us will be able to relate to what she's talking about, or so many of us, it will be a forewarning about what could happen or how we can actually handle the situations that we go through. Yes, so we're going to dive into this story, and I hope that you can invite a friend to come and enjoy it together with us. All right, Arinda.
Yes, Coach.
Good to have you.
Good to have you. I'm glad to be here.
You're right?
Yes.
So people would love to hear from someone at least that is a bit familiar. You know, who are you? Where do you come from? What would you love to be known for?
I'm Slivia Arinda. I'm a mother of 2 girls. I'm a
You look 12.
It's by the grace of God.
Okay.
Yes. I'm a mother of 2 girls and a proud mother. I'm a life coach, and I'm a founder of Arinda Mothers Empowerment Foundation, an organization which supports mothers to raise children with purpose and values.
Okay. You sound so passionate about that.
Yeah, I love it because I've gone through it. I know what mothers go through. So to start, as we are going to see in my story, I have a reason why I am passionate about motherhood.
Okay, where does Arinda come from?
I come from Shema district currently, but I come from Kabale. My parents were from Kabale. I'm a Mchiga.
Okay.
Yes, but currently we are staying in Shema district.
Okay. Yeah. What do you do for a living?
I'm a quantity surveyor.
Okay.
Some people call me an engineer because I've been a site engineer for some time. But my real profession is called quantity surveying. Those who don't know about it, when an architect draws a plan for the house, we estimate the construction costs. And during construction, we supervise to make sure that the cost of the project doesn't go beyond the planned cost of construction.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's what you do.
Yes.
Okay. So at least, we know a little bit about Arinda. Maybe we'll know a little bit more as we go along. Where does your story start? Where does Arinda start to get into the cobwebs of the world?
Yeah. Growing up, I was serving in church, starting from primary 4 up to second year at the university. I was in church. My ministry was so much into praise and worship. And for a long time, I was a choir leader. Those who studied with me, you even know at school, I was a chapel choir leader. But life started changing when I reached at the university.
You reached university. Where did you do your secondary from?
O-level, I was in Kabale. It is called Kabale Trinity College. And then A-level, I was in Standard College in Tungamo.
In Tungamo.
Yes.
Then where do you go for campus?
Campus, I was at Kyambogo University.
You come to town.
Yes. So during my school time, I was one of those so-called bright students. And one of my nicknames was Kasoma, because I used to read hard.
Kasoma, they used to call you Kasoma.
Yes. So I was performing well in class, and I was one of the favorite students. As you know, if you're performing well in class, those teachers, I was a friend to the teachers, the head teachers. I remember I would be going for holidays, and they are saying no one is taking books from the library. Then I would go to the teachers, and they would tell me to pick all the books I want. I would go with them during the holidays. Yeah, so I was a favorite, and I was outstanding in most of the areas, because I was serving in chapel as a mama. You know how you can be a choir leader, and then I had those young senior 1, senior 2 students who used to look up to me, mama, counseling, all that for guidance. So I was outstanding both in class and in ministry. So when I reached at the university, actually, I performed well at the end of senior 6, and I got a government sponsorship. So when I reached at the university, in second year, I started working. But before I started working, in first year, I was serving in church, still as a choir leader. We had a ministry, yes, in Kyambogo. We had a ministry called Kuwaimwe. Yes, so we used to serve in church. I was a choir leader for the ministry. But in second year, when I did internship for second year, they retained me at my workplace. So I started working as I was studying. Because I was on government, I was to study. I was supposed to be on day, but when I got a job, I talked to the lecturers. As usual, I was a course coordinator, so I was the favorite again for the lecturers at the university. So I talked to my lecturers, and they allowed me to do evening, though I was on government. So I started working during the day and studying in the evening. Okay. So when I started working now, I stopped ministry, because now I didn't have time for ministry. You became busy. I became busy. And that's where it all started. Because now I lost the accountability. You know, when you're a mama, everyone is looking at you. Mama is doing this. Where is mama? Where is mama? But when I stopped ministry, now I was in my own life. And even the people I used to serve with now, of course, they started getting a bit far, because I rarely attended fellowships. I rarely was there for ministry, those prayer meetings. So I started getting lost into the world, that's what I can say. But all in the name of I'm working, I'm studying. Yes. And life was a bit hard, because, you know, as a government student, I was getting some government allowances. I was staying in the hall. I was not paying rent. I was working. So there was
had a commanding, some good life.
Yeah, there was some good life. So
God had answered your prayers.
Yes, I saw it was the big. You know how everyone can be, people have finished campus, they don't have jobs, yes. But for you, you're still studying and you have jobs, and you see, I was, okay, God has blessed me. He has favored me that all the workplaces where I've been one of the favorite. Yeah, because when I decide to do something, I really put in effort. So I was seeing already, my bosses were telling me, when are you finishing, so that you can work full time? So I saw life was okay. I felt simple. You know, when life is moving on, well, sometimes even the prayers change.
You relax.
Yeah, you relax, because you don't have a lot that you're going through. So in fourth year, I got a boyfriend, because time was coming. I was leaving campus now. The next thing,
it's the norm.
Yes.
How do you get out of campus without a boyfriend?
Yes. So the next thing was getting a boyfriend and, you know, getting married. But it didn't go as I planned it. So in my fourth year, after exams, before even graduation, I talked to my boyfriend then. So he told me, we had studied together O-level, so I knew most of the things about him. He was an orphan, and, you know, I knew what he had gone through to reach where he was. Because for him, he had done 3 years at the university. Me, I was doing a 4-year course. So for him, he had just graduated. So he told me, you know what, we don't have money for the wedding and all that, so we can start staying together, then we shall do those things later when we get money. So I talked to my parents. I come from a Christian family, and all the people, we are 5 who are married, okay, who have families, and I'm the only one who is not wedded. So for us, wedding, they treasure, you know, that way of doing things in the right way. So when I talked to him, he was like, you know what, your family, I know, but they will understand. As long as they see you happy, they will understand. I tried to talk to my family. My family was like, no, but you're a Christian lady. How can you do that? At least to do even a mass wedding, but go in the right way. But you know, when you're so much in love, some of the things, you don't even listen to them.
The chemicals were upside down.
They were upside down. I was, at some point, sorry to say, I don't want to say I didn't need my family. I saw I didn't need my family. But where I had reached, I saw I could take care of myself. I was having like a money.
The boyfriend was there.
The boyfriend was
there.
The
love was there.
And he kept on convincing me that, you know what, as long as your family sees you happy, they will get on your side. So what I did after finishing my exams, I just moved into the man's place without even telling them, because I knew they wouldn't allow. I tried to tell them, no one was understanding. So I started staying with him. Then it was like after 1 month, that's when I told them, you know what, don't look for me, I'm at so-and-so's place. So they were disappointed.
Point of information.
Yeah. So they were disappointed, but they had nothing to do. They tried to talk to me how, you know, the man respects you when you come in the right way. And at some point they were annoyed, so they told me not to go back home.
Okay.
So with all the love, when they told me not to go back home, everything they told me, I shared it with the man. I told, you know what, my family has said this and this.
I should not go back.
I should not go back home. So I thought now he was going to love me the more, to see how I've sacrificed my family for him. But instead, I think he changed. He started thinking, if someone can sacrifice their family, how sure am I that she's going to, you know, stay with me? So he started changing a little. But we kept on moving. Later on, I thank my mother, because she was, even when everyone was not say against me, but when they distanced themselves from me, but my mother stayed close to me. And she kept on telling my brothers that, you know what, this is also your sister. Whatever has happened, she's still your sister, and you know, she's still my daughter, like that. So until they again accepted me to go back home. But of course, it wasn't.
That is after the man has changed. Your boyfriend has changed.
He changed, but we are still staying together.
Okay.
But then my mother kept on talking to my brothers and my sister
accept you back.
to accept me back home. Yeah. Then shortly after, I conceived. So when I conceived, now my first pregnancy disturbed me. I was working, but then at 5 months, I stopped working because it was too much. By that time, I was, at my workplace, I was like a project manager of some project in Kyambogo. So I used to use a border. You're on and off, you're on site, you're at office, you have to go buy the materials required, you have to go and see if workers are being paid and all that. So it was a lot of work for me to do when I was pregnant, on and off on a border. So he told me to resign. So that we can start a business, and I settle in one place.
So he's the one who suggested?
Yeah, he suggested, and you know, I still had this love. Because I grew up, actually, one of the challenges I had was, as I grew up, being outstanding in almost all the areas, people would tell me, will a man be able to lead you? Onafugika. Because for you are outstanding almost in every area, and will you be able to submit under a man? So when he would speak, that thing would run into my mind, and I'm like, I have to submit. I have to accept. Actually, even where I'm not supposed to accept, I would just accept.
Just to beat your mind to what was in your mind.
Yes, because I grew up when they were telling me those so many words. Because I was outstanding in academics. When I started working, I was outstanding in ministry, outstanding. So people were like, for you won't manage. So
marriage is not for you.
Yes. So when it came, I now had to, those words would come, and what I would do, I would just accept so that I don't look to be, you know, disrespectful and all that. Yes. So after that, I had to resign on my job. So I started a business. I didn't have money. I had not saved a lot of money. So I had to go into Kariru market and start a mdala for onions, tomatoes, eggplants. Yes. Because at that time now, I didn't have any other job to do. We had saved a little money which would not start some big business. So that is the easiest business I would start. And moreover, I was pregnant, and this is not something I had planned for a long time. I thought I would work as other ladies do, up to
9
maybe
months.
9 months, then give birth, get your leave, go back to work. But when it reached 5 months, it was becoming worse, and he kept on insisting that I settle in one place. So when I started my mdala in the market,
Which market was that?
Kaderu. Kaderu. Things didn't move on well, because as a pregnant woman, you have, those who have been in the market, they understand. You have to wake up at 4 a.m. or 5. You go wait for those people who are supplying you things. Or if you want to make some good money, you sell those people who come maybe to different places and they want to buy in wholesale. Yeah, so that you can at least sell at once. So it was not easy for me, and the transportation, your taxi early morning, then you're coming back late, because we would want to sell in the evening, those people who come from work around 7. So I would be reaching home at 9. I left home in the morning at 4, and now I'm going back at 9. And I didn't have a maid at home. You have to do the housework and all that. You're pregnant. So it wasn't easy for me. And now I saw again, just because I had started, business was not catching up very fast. So I started making losses. At 7 months, we decided to stop the business and wait until I give birth. So when I stopped working, so it was like, now you're not working, you're here at home. So what do you do? I thought I married a woman who would add something on me. Now you're pregnant, you're not working, you're here. What do I do? So he told me to remember my family. I didn't go in the right way. So though they had accepted me home, but this is not something you would tell them that again. My husband has told me to come and be here until I give birth. So the only option was going to my in-laws' place. So I went to stay with my mother-in-law in Kabale. Though I'm from Kabale, I didn't grow up from Kabale, so I'm not so much used to the conditions there. So it was not easy for me, but I had to bear. At 9 months, I gave birth very well. I want to thank my friend Fortunate, who was there for me. She was really there for me. She came at my mother-in-law's place. She took care of me. She transported. She had a vehicle. She would come and pick me to the hospital. And so she was there for me. I thank you so much, Fortunate, and everyone who was there for me. So after giving birth, after 2 months, I couldn't handle the village life. So I was like, let me go back to Kampala. I looked for a job, because I knew I studied. At least the business had failed, but I had studied. I had where to start from. So I came to look for jobs, but unfortunately, when I came back to Kampala, I didn't find him at home.
Okay.
So the baby was 2 weeks. So I reached home. He told me...
You left Kabale after 2 weeks?
2 weeks after giving birth.
Okay.
Before I came, I told him I wanted to come back. He was like, stay in the village for like 3 months so that you come back when the child has grown. But remember, I was not used to the other conditions. The time was there, he never came to see me. And now already the family saw there was something not going on well. And you're in people who you're not used to, you're a new mother, everyone is looking at you as, they don't want to know. So it wasn't easy for me. So I told him, let me come back to Kampala so that I look for a job. By the end of 3-4 months, or when the child will have grown, then I can start working again. Because remember, I had resigned on my job. And actually, I want to say this to the other ladies there. Sometimes people speak to you and you don't listen. When I was resigning on my job, my boss had refused me to resign. She was like, you're still a young girl, you don't know what you're doing. It's just love, but that is not the right thing to do. But me, I insisted. He was like, are you the first mother? Can't you wait? You be patient until 9 months. Because my boss was there for me. I thank actually the people of Ayeva, because they made sure I was comfortable at office. They gave me some time to sleep after lunch. They would make sure there is something to eat at office. It was really they cared, yes. And they stopped. They told me, because they knew me. I had trained with them. They're the same people I had trained with them when I was working, when I was still studying.
They knew your potential.
They knew. So they told me to wait and be patient until I give birth.
But love.
I never listened. Yes. So afterwards, so I told him I wanted to come back to Kampala. He was like, no, you stay in the village. But I had some rumors that there was another woman in the house. So I wanted to come and know where it is ending, because I saw I gave birth, he never even called me to tell me, no, thank you for giving birth to a child and all that. They called him, he was in church. After, they told him, oh, your wife has given birth. Hey, to what? To a baby girl. Okay, I'll call you in the evening. He never
That's all.
called back. So all that time, there was nothing like, thank you or support or what. So everything, it was my mother-in-law giving me. So I was like, let me go to Kampala. So I started looking for jobs. By the time the child is ready to be left at home, maybe I can be able to get a job to start working. But when I came 2 weeks, I didn't find him at home. So I was at home alone. Remember, my family they were not happy with what I did. My religious friends had left me. Even my spiritual leaders were not happy with what I did, because how a whole mama, how can you just go like that? So I was in the world alone, that's what I can say. But I want to thank my landlady who was there for me, because as time went on, I got depressed. The child would cry. At 2 weeks, the old child would cry, and I see her crying like this, but I don't care. Because inside me, I was really so much hurt. I looked at what I sacrificed for my life. Remember, I was someone who was outstanding up there. Even when I was at university, everyone was wishing to be like me. The people who were looking up to me. So I felt disappointed.
You had let everyone down, yeah.
Yes, I had let everyone down, and then the person I sacrificed a lot for had also left me. So it was really a hard time for me, but my landlady was there. She would hear the baby crying and would come and knock on the door. So as a mature lady, she saw I was depressed, because honestly, we were in love, I can say. And all the rumors now started, because we would hold hands from home to the taxi. We enter into the taxi. If we sit together, we again hold hands up to church. Before. Yes. And then now we are coming back from church where the taxi leaves us. We again hold hands up to home. So everyone, when he left, everyone was like, what is happening? Did anything go wrong? Huh? So some people, they were asking me many questions which I was not ready to answer at that time. But the landlady was there. She was supportive. When she saw what I was going through, she would tell me, after preparing like breakfast, to go to her home. I stay there up to lunchtime. I go and prepare lunch, then go back so that she gives me company, because I was there alone.
So who was providing then? Who?
He used it to pay rent. Then he was giving us some support.
So he had decided he didn't want anything to do with you. He wanted to stay, to have his own life.
Yeah, he told me, for the time I was not there, where I had gone to give birth, he thought about it, and he saw that we couldn't, move on well. So he decided to
get another person.
No, he didn't tell me about the other person. I got to know another person from other people, and then Facebook, because that lady would post and tag him on Facebook when I'm saying that. But for him, he didn't tell me about another person. I got to know later. He got to tell me later, when even the person had given birth. Yes. So he told me we are not compatible. So
did he give you a reason?
Of course, he would tell me. There was all those small things he would tell me here and there, but it's not that, okay, to me, I didn't expect that it would really get into that much. Yeah, but he told me we are not compatible, and he's doing it for my good so that I can move on well with my life. So I accepted and took it the way he said it. So he left. He was supporting us with some money for the first few months, until he stopped supporting. Yeah, but because of the words which were around, I had to shift from that place, because everyone was asking me, what happened? You people were in love. What happened? We no longer see him. So I wasn't ready to answer all those questions. So I had to shift to another place. So when I shifted to the other place, now I hadn't gotten a job again. So I started selling chips near the place where I was living. But maybe something else I had missed out is, when I was depressed before I shifted, I took myself to Tabika Hospital, because I felt I was running mad.
What did you feel? Because you mentioned that when the child cried, you would not even bother. Like, what were you feeling?
I was seeing that child as a person who has killed my dreams, because I'm a woman who grew up knowing that I'll be a great woman. And even the people who were around me, everyone would see me and is like, yeah, you're a great woman. Because I was outstanding in almost every area. So what pained me that even at the time of graduation, I never went for my graduation. Because at that time, that's when I was in career market. I wasn't looking good. You're pregnant, you're struggling here and there. Your family is not with you. Your friends are not with you. So I wasn't looking good, and I was always feeling guilty of what I did. Remember, you were serving in church, and people are like, Mama, what happened? What happened? And then they started, talking to my spiritual leaders, like, hey, what happened to your sheep? So all that would come back to me, and I would blame myself for what I did, and it was not an easy time. So I didn't have someone to talk to, because my mother has been sickly for some time. I didn't want to pour out everything to her. Yet she's the only person I had in my life, because the rest, everyone I would talk to, they would judge me. So I never wanted anyone to judge. I wanted someone to listen. So when I went to Butabeka Hospital, by that time I had not told my family about anything, how the man had left me in the house. For them, they thought I was happy, So I went to Butabeka Hospital, and they tried to test, but I was normal. I was just depressed. I needed someone to talk to. So they tried to test. Do you hear voices? Do all the tests they do on those mad people? I was normal. I didn't hear anything. So they just gave me some medicine to go. So I went home. But when I was going home, I was like, now what if I die? Who will get to know what has killed me? So I had to call one of my brothers and tell him what I was going through. So he also supported me with some money, though of course they first judged me, but they had cooled down a bit. So they started supporting me with some money. Yeah, so after that, that's when I had to shift, so that I go into a new place where they don't know me. When I reached in the new place, I had not yet gotten a job. He paid rent for the first 3 months. That's the last time I received rent from him. So I had to start, with the support I had gotten from my brothers at home, I had to start the small business so that I get something to do. I started selling chips. So as I was selling chips, that's when some of the people who used to come and buy chips, and there was another person who used to have kasori, selling popcorn and the maize. So many people would be around there in the evening. So I got there one of my friends he was coming from our home district. So he got to know me. He easily saw that I wasn't, he used to say I wasn't an average woman. That's what he would say. Be like, you're here selling chips, but you look like someone who had studied. So he tried to find more, and I had to open up. Remember, I had no one to talk to. So I opened up to him. I was also happy that I've gotten someone who understands me. He never judged me. Instead, he was like so mad at the other guy and all that. So I felt I got a friend who doesn't judge me, who believes in me. And he started telling me, don't think because you're going through this at this time, you're going to get up again. You're going to be a great woman and all that. So
someone gave you hope.
Yes. So I really got into love with him. So everything I would open up to him, everything I would tell him. So until he didn't tell me that he was married, but he had a wife, but the wife was in the village. So here in Kampala, he was working somewhere, and he always told me about only his Kampala life. Yeah, and he told me how he would wish to, move on with me and later on marry me when I stabilize. And he was happy with a child, was like, I will take you with a child there, and then we shall move on. We started looking for jobs. He looked to be supportive. So shortly after, we got intimate, and I had to conceive. So when I conceived, that's when I knew his true colors. I knew he wasn't ready. I got to know he had a family, and he told me. You
got to know he had a family after you conceived?
After conceiving. So he told me to abort. I thought about it. He gave me some time. He told me, think about it. I'm going to help you. I'll give you the money. We abort because you're not ready for this. Actually, the funny thing was, by that time, my first child was 5 months. And now I'm pregnant again. So at 6 months, that's when my child...
Depressed.
When my child was making 6 months, I realized that
you're pregnant.
I'm pregnant. So you're pregnant, you have no job. The man stopped paying for you rent. Actually, those other months, the landlord was still demanding. Yes. So the other guy didn't take full responsibility. He would just chip in a few things. I brought you something to cook and all that. Yeah. So the rent was not paid, but I was still, the landlord was patient with me. So he told me to abort. I told him I'm not ready to abort. I thought about it, and that's why I advise people to go into, if you're in ministry, always have that personal relationship with your God. Because though everyone was away from me, I felt God was still with me. I would feel it. Some people would laugh at me. What happened to Mama? What? There were many words. But inside me, I felt God was with me. So I sat down and I was like, I was serving in ministry. I stopped serving. I got pregnant. I got pregnant when I'm not married. I'm pregnant again. Now, for all that time, God was still with me. Actually, I used not to fall sick. My child used not to fall sick. Like, though things outside I was struggling, but myself and the child, we were okay. So I knew God was with me. So I thought about it and I was like, I made the first mistake. I stopped ministering. I stopped serving. I stopped. I got married without.
Not in a proper way.
Not in a proper way. So I can't again do this to abort. At least I've done many things, but this one
To
I'm
God,
not going.
but not now.
This one I'm not going to do. And I told him I'm not going to abort. He tried to convince me. He stayed around for up to 3 months. So at 3 months, he told me, I see you don't want to abort. You see what you're going through. You don't. By that time, I had not yet gotten a job still. I had stopped chips. When I got pregnant, I stopped the chips because it didn't treat me well. So I had to stay around, just there waiting for the support I get from home and, surviving on my own. So he told me, you see what you're going through. Why don't you abort? So I had a friend. My friend was like, I see this man is not going to give you money. And again, he's going to leave you. So you trick him so that you tell him you've accepted to abort. At least you get that money he's going to give you to abort. So my friend was there. We tried to, we made a deal. We told him, now I'm ready. And then he gave us the money. He even escorted us to the hospital. But we had talked to the doctor before. We were like, you just put the drip and then you just put water and you tell him he's weak and all that. And then when he pays you the money, we need the money. So we did that. He came and saw me in the hospital.
Paid the money?
Yes, he paid the money and left. He thought everything was going to be done. So after leaving, we paid the doctor for the things we had used and we went home. So from that day, he never came back home. He thought everything was done. Shortly after, like a week, he again saw me because now the pregnancy was coming to 3.5 months, so it was seen. So he saw me. He even never greeted me. And that was the last day I talked to him.
The last day you ever saw him and talked to him?
That's the last day I talked to him. That's the last day I saw him. So he didn't even call me again because when we were who was paying, we had agreed that, we are ending this year so that we move on with our lives. So that's the last day I saw him. And then I had to move on now, start looking for jobs. I had no job.
Why did you get the determination to say, you know what, let's end it, but I'm not aborting, I don't have a job? Like, where did that determination come from?
When I was growing up, my mother she was a strict woman, so she used to tell us, you people, if you abort, if you get pregnant here and shame me, I'm going to kill you. So after some time, one of our chairman, LC5 daughter, died when she was aborting. So from the burial, that was the first word my mother said. Even if you get pregnant, don't abort. You've already ashamed me. So I knew.
She changed her words.
Yes. So I knew at least even when I'm like this, my mother will. Then again, being someone who has been serving in church, I knew it was sin. It is murder to abort. So I was like, I know no one will understand. The world will not understand. But at least between me and God, I know that I've made a mistake, but I'm not adding
Another
mistake. Yeah.
So that was the last time you heard from him?
That was the last time I heard from him. But I prayed to God. When I was going to make that final decision, I prayed to God and I was like, I know I'm going to have no one. No one is going to be there for me, but I know you're there for me. And I know you'll be a father to this child. So I continued. Now I started looking for jobs. I didn't get any. Even my friends came and convinced me. Remember, I got the first child not in the right way. Now you're getting a second child, and now from another man. Now the family of the other first man, they are demanding for their child. The child is 8 months, and the child had started changing. You know, they call it opos, like it had started changing because I was breastfeeding when I was pregnant. So it was really a lot, but I would go into my room and cry to God, and I'm like, I know everyone is not with me, but you're with me. And indeed, he was with me. So I gave birth. Before I gave birth, shortly after, around 4 months, I got, my friend called me. She was having a small restaurant in town in Kyambogo. She was serving tea in the morning and in the evening, only tea. Milk tea, black tea, and then porridge. So they would work morning and evening. So he told me, he didn't know I was pregnant for the second child. So I tried to hide, because whoever would know that I have a baby and I'm pregnant, they would stop giving me jobs. So what I did, I had to hide the pregnancy. Then, so I went there and told her now the other story of the first man, how he had left me. So she gave me a job, so that she was giving me 10,000.
To sell porridge and tea.
So that I can be helping her sell porridge. Yeah. But so I would leave my baby. I had no maid at home. I would leave my baby with a neighbor and leave her with 1,000. I would pay her 1,000, then buy what to feed the child and the pampers and whatever she would need to use. So shortly after, now the other boss, okay, the one where I was working serving tea, they got to know that I'm pregnant. Because in Kyambogo, there are those steps. So, and when they are people are doing their business, they want you to be first. And then you're climbing those stairs. Yes, as a pregnant woman, you wouldn't want to move on the steps. So they would tell me, I'm becoming too slow, I'm becoming too lazy, until she got to know I was pregnant and fired me. So, but God was with me, and I used to tell people that when God wants to use you for something, he never leaves you. Even if you try to run away from him, for him, he stays. So even amidst all those challenges I was going through, he was with me. Because she told me she would fire me like today. That same day, I called one of the people I used to study with. He was like, I've been looking for you. You're lost. Where are you? Because when I went through all that, I cut off all my friends. So he was, I've been looking for you. Where have you been? I told him, he was like, I want to come and see you from your home. So he came with our other friend who was better. He had some money. So I told them what I was going through. So they told me to stay home. They brought for me a laptop and a smartphone so that I can be doing work from home and sending it to them. So they told me not to go back to town. But, you know, there's how God does his things. Again, that same person is the one who called other people we were studying with and was like, if you get a job, Sylvia is seated at home. Please connect her. Wow. And before a week ended, I got a job. Still the same way, I had to hide the pregnancy when I was going for interviews because they were not giving me a job. So when I got the job, now I had to be normal. So when my boss realized I was pregnant, he laughed. He was like, now, because now the pregnancy was around four months. So it was like, now you're here, you're pregnant. They were Indians. Pregnant mama, what are you going to do on site? Because I was stationed on a construction site. But again, God used my boss. My boss was like, I don't want to see you on site. We had site offices. He was like, remain in the site office. If you need anything on site, send a site engineer to do it for you. So I was there up to 9 months. I left when I was remaining with like 2 weeks. They told me to go home and rest. But they didn't give me maternity leave. So 1 month after, I had not saved. I wasn't earning that much, and being pregnant, I really used not to save. I had to take care of myself and the child. Yeah. So after 1 month after giving birth, I had to go back to work because now I didn't have any money left. I talked to my boss. He accepted me. He would tell me every 2 hours, I want you to go home and breastfeed. So I had to shift from where I was staying to near the side where I can just walk. And I walk, I go home, breastfeed, come back. And he was like, if you reach home and you feel you're weak to come back, stay there. Wow. What I want is you to finish my work. So he would give me like work for a week, and it's like, this is what I want you to do for this week. if you finish this work, if you don't do anything else. So I also respected that because he was understanding. He did that. And I thank God for giving me understanding bosses. Wherever I've worked, God has used my bosses so much. So he was there for me. He supported me. He gave me some free money, which was even out of the salary, and supported me until the child had started growing. So that's when now I continued now with my life. But again, it wasn't easy because the child, the old one, at some point started, asking for the father. I would see the others are asking.
How old is the first one now?
The first one is now 6.
6 years.
Yes.
And the second?
Is 5 years. But okay, the first one is the dad is now fully supporting. But at that time, I was taking care because when I refused, remember I was hiding the pregnancy and all that, so I stopped him from seeing the child. So he also stopped supporting. Yeah. So when he stopped supporting, I had to take over and do everything myself. Yeah, but the second one, as I said from the beginning, it was me. And God was with me. I normally tell people that when you remain trusting in God, even if everyone goes away from you, God still is with you. Up to 2 years, my child never fell sick. She would get like this flu, even during COVID time. She would get like a bit sick, and I think maybe she's going to fall sick. But I would give him tomatoes and onions, like a chumbari, and the child would be fine. So up to 2 years, I only went to the hospital for immunization. And I thank God for that also, because at least I didn't spend that much on the child. Yes. So afterwards, I had to continue working, and then now, as time went on, I felt I wanted to share my story with other people. I wanted to encourage women who are going through the same. And that's when now I had to enroll for the Accelerated Mentorship Academy so that I get to learn. And from my childhood, actually, they used to tell me that I was a counselor. I liked encouraging people and supporting people. So they got to know that everyone would tell me, you're a counselor, you're what? So even now with that experience, I had to go subscribe for the Accelerated Mentorship Academy so that I can be mentored and be a counselor or a coach.
I want to know the time where you fully now decide and say, I am resuming my walk with God and I am fully going back to church, attend church service and all that. Because while you're still in those troubles, you realize that your life was still low.
Yes.
You could only pray personal prayers, but you just didn't feel like going anywhere else. When do you finally say, you know what, I need to fully get on board?
I decided after giving birth to my second child, because I shifted. So the place where I went, people didn't know me. I was fearing the other side because people knew me. Now I went to somewhere where they don't know me. So after giving birth to my second child, I started going to church, but still not full time. It is during around 2021, that's when I really started being full time in church and being active. Yeah.
Okay, and then because you tell us that the boss that supported you through giving birth of your first child, is that the same job you're still at?
No. No, I got a different job. In 2022, I got a different job.
Okay, so, and it's the same job that you still
it's the same job I'm still on up to
now.
Yes.
Okay, at least better payment, at least you're able to take care of your children, take care of yourself.
Yeah, it is some good payment. I thank my bosses for that. Yes.
Okay, so what do you envision, because there are so many girls out there who are at campus that are going to watch this. There are so many parents of teenagers or even children who are girls and boys who are at campus. I believe the decisions that we make form the quality of our lives. And I believe that it was one decision that took you away from the kind of life, that one decision of I'm not fellowshipping anymore. One decision, so it becomes one decision after another that takes you further away from the kind of life that you had envisioned. But even then, even when we go, of course, most of the times it's not like we can say, but this is the devil's doing. I'm going to die, but you did die. You're still alive.
Yes, I did.
So you realize that in the plans of God, you picked those lessons, and it's the lessons that you're actually giving out there. I want you to speak to that. Number one, the woman that is losing hope. Maybe she has given birth to a child, maybe she has been abandoned, maybe what she hoped would be love has become a depression right now. And she's just like you went to Butavika and tested and nothing was found. So many of them actually are at the rock bottom and they don't know how to get out of there.
So I want to speak to every woman out there. I want to start with the ladies, okay, the youth who are serving, because I believe stopping ministry was one of the gateways for me to go off course. So if you're in church, let it not be that you're serving so that people see you. You're not serving so that people can say that one is a great woman. You're serving. Let it be a relationship between you and God. And also, when you're going through something, don't forget about God. Maybe if I had aborted, maybe you never know, I would have died. But I kept on trusting God. And so if you're there, even if the man leaves you, even if they don't listen to you, make sure that you keep on trusting in God because He knows you. Yes, because after that, we founded an organization. It is called Arinda Mothers Empowerment Foundation. We support mothers to heal from the pain of broken marriages. We help them raise positive children because some of them, when they break down, they bring now all the bitterness onto the children and they raise negative children. Then we help them achieve their self-discovery and personal growth so that they are able to support their children and themselves. So maybe some people, it was easier for me to come back again because I had studied, I had where to begin from. But some people, maybe they never studied, they don't know who they are. Yes. And finally, I would also ask people to, if you go through something, I have helped many women who have gone through the same. So maybe God was taking me through that so that I'm able later for a reason. Because when now someone tells me that, you know what, I thought I had run mad. I understand. I went through it. I know how it feels. So I can understand what they are going through. So I would wish everyone to use what they went through to support others who may be going through the same.
At what point did you look at your child and say, you know what, I love this child and this child is not the reason as to why I'm out? Because back when she was young, the way you looked at her is you labeled her that, you know what, it seems like now this is an evidence of a failed life. Of some sorts. At what point do you speak to your heart? Do you reconcile with the fact that this is my child and they deserve to be loved?
It took me some time because actually the child resembled the dad. Every time I would look at the child like this, I would see the dad and the bitterness would come back. But as time went on, I think I was happy, though the father of the second one left me, I still got annoyed with the first one more than the second. Because with the second, at least my second child resembles me. So when I would look at her, I would be like, at least this one resembles me. So it took me long until I gave birth to the second child. That's when I started loving the first child. Because every time I would look at her, I would be like, this was the beginning of my downfall. So I never loved her. But later on, as time went on, I had to love her. And actually, now we are so much close, more than even the second. Yeah.
And when it comes to your family, did you fully reconcile? Did they ever get to a place where like everything is normal now? It's not like they're just accepting you, because in a family, it's not about acceptance. You belong. That is your family. Did they get to a place and forget about everything else and like everything is back to normal the way it was?
Yeah, it came back to normal, but really not like how it was before. Because during that time when I was going through all that, they had their friends who there were people in they were serving. So their friends would keep on telling them, what happened to your sister? Your sister used to be a good girl. What happened? What happened? And you know, when you're going through different missions, conferences, preaching, yet now your own sister is doing that. So it was really, I can say, shame. I know they were not happy with it, though at some point they had to accept me as a sister, but it didn't go back to how it was before. But now we talk, everything looks normal on top, but when you go deep, you see they still have something which they've not accepted.
They've not accepted. They still see you as, you know, you made your own decisions.
Yeah, they keep on telling me that they will be happy when they see that I've made the right decision. So up to now, they're still looking up to me. What next? What next is she doing?
What next for your life? That brings me to that. What next for your life?
You know, I've learned to trust God for all my steps because the little I've tested him. Because I can say at some point, it's not that it came out very purely that, you know, you're having faith in God. At some point, I'll be testing him. And the little time I've tested him, I've seen him work.
Wow.
So now I'm relying on him. I know he has the best in store for me. And I know he knows the ministry that he has put on my life. I know he will prepare me, he will lead me until I do what he created me to do.
Wow, that's amazing. And as we try to wrap up, I would want us to, maybe if you can just single out what were the problems or the red flags that you minimized in those relationships. You get it? Because then definitely God is going to bless you with an amazing marriage, with an amazing man, and all that. But then what is your heart longing for right now? Because now you are no longer a child. You are no longer young. The butterflies are no longer that important for you. I think settlement is more important for you. What can you say that, you know what, I overlooked this in those relationships, and should God ever bring any other relationship in my hands, this is what I'll be looking out for?
Because I was so much in love, I easily listened to him. I didn't listen to my parents, what they were telling me, because they were telling me from experiences, from a good heart. They kept on telling me that a man will not respect you if you go a wrong way. And indeed, I saw it happen. But he kept on convincing me so I listened to him, who I had known for a little time, more than the parents who had raised me, more than the parents who had good intentions for me. Then also I saw, I think there are some things like he would tell me, you're too short. Like, I think he was not very happy with who I am.
Fully accept you for who you are.
Yes, because even at some point he told me, I thought I married an engineer to help me. So as if he had married me because of maybe the work I was doing or who he thought I was going to be, but not who I really am.
And he was disappointed in the process.
And in the process, he was disappointed. And then also, I would advise that as a lady, before you even get married, it is better to know yourself, know your strength and weakness, and if possible, actually, you find your purpose. Because I think where we had some misunderstandings and we were really not compatible would come to purpose. Because he was a businessman, me, I was not a businessman. I was someone who likes counseling, you know, speaking to people, encouraging people. So I was not so much into the business.
And yet he wanted you to help with the business.
He wanted me to help in the business. So he would want me to change into who he is, not who I am. But by that time, I had not yet even gone through the mentorship to fully discover who I am. So I couldn't tell. I knew when it comes to engineering, I would do my work very well. But then again, there is something special which comes with your passion. I had a passion within me, but I really never knew what exactly. It was not yet clear. So if maybe it was clear even before going in with him, because me, I would just look at him and follow whatever he wants me to do. He tells me, I want you to do business. Then I forget about everything about myself.
Oh, so you go ahead and do business and do it wrongly.
And you do it wrongly.
Now you're compatible. I mean incompatible.
We are incompatible. So he looks at me as someone now who is nowhere in life, who doesn't know what they want in life.
Because you can't speak up for yourself. You even don't know what to speak up about.
So I would wish people to discover who they are, and because it leads them, because it would even help me to, because for example now, when I'm looking for someone, I look for someone maybe who is in line, who understands who I am, and who is in line with where I'm heading. Because now at least I know who I am and I know where I'm heading. So even if I'm looking for someone, I look for someone who has a vision which is similar to maybe what I want and where I see that we can work together.
Support each other.
And support each other, yes.
Wow. That's it from Arinda. I know that for so many of us, this reminds us of our lives. This reminds us of the life that we don't want our children to go through. This reminds us of our job as parents, because God has entrusted these children with us to be able to speak into their lives, to be able to guide them, and then to know that they also are human beings that can make their own mistakes and their own own decisions, and then to know that, by the way, even when they make mistakes, just like God does not make us outcasts, he still allows us and still loves us the same and still is there for us. I would love to pray with you, especially if you're going through a depression, if you're going through a stagnation in life and you feel lost and you don't, you feel like giving up on your life. God is still on your side. He's still fighting alongside you. He's going to provide you. He's going to provide for your family, for your children. You're going to turn out all right. The story that had gone off course, he's going to bring it on course, because he's the God of a second chance, and his second chance is not number 2. His second chance, he can give you 1,000 second chances. He never gets tired of that, because you are his creation and he created you, and you have the power to create the life that you want. Lord, I pray that whoever is watching this broadcast will be blessed beyond measure. The peace that surpasses human understanding will engulf them and visit them and be with them. And Lord, that they will make the right decisions for their lives, for their families, for their children, for their businesses, and that you will orchestrate every footstep, that you will guide them in every decision that they make, that they will be able to come out glorious and jubilating and celebrating and saying, see what the Lord has done. He has returned the hope. He has rejuvenated my strength, and he has given us the peace that surpasses human understanding. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.